So it's time to unbox another parcel from Fusion Retro Books. And this one was funded on Kickstarter and also came with Fusion Final Fantasy Special Edition of the magazine, Mastertronic Classic Soundtracks by Rob Hubbard, CD compiled by c64audio.com, 8-Bit Symphony, and Jason Kelk of Psytronik and Binary Zone. And then the main part of this package is, of course, the Commodore 64 Collector's Guide to Mastertronic by Colin Poole. So as you can see, the Commodore 64 Collector's Guide to Mastertronic by Let's Talk Retro's Colin Poole is a great resource for anyone interested in collecting all the Mastertronic games released on cassette for the Commodore 64. Each game released on the original Mastertronic 199, Mastertronic Added Dimension, Mastertronic Plus, Ricochet, Entertainment USA and Bulldog labels is given its own double-page spread with cover scan, screenshots, short review, occasional notes with additional information, and where possible the game's controls. The Racket, Americana and Tronix labels are also briefly covered. As well as being a collector's guide, the book is also a fantastic nostalgia trip for anyone who has happy memories of playing the games of Mastertronic on their computer back in the early 80s and 90s. Featuring over 500 pages, 230 cover scans, 800 screenshots, an early Mastertronic catalogue, a collector's checklist, the top 10 all-time C64 sales charts, rare and hard to find games, and so much more. And then you can see some logos there from there. So Fusion Retro Books in association with Let's Talk Retro, during the memory of the three men who created Mastertronic. All rights reserved, first printing 2022. The labels there, the contents, the foreword from Anthony Guter, financial controller at Mastertronic, introduction from Colin himself, and a picture of him and a friend with the Commodore 16. Colin's amazing Mastertronic collection there. Some tags. QR code takes you to Anthony Guter's site. Each game is a sales rating. Advert there is on the founding of Mastertronic. So then we start with the releases. So this is 1985, the day after. Product code, release date, the label, developer, cover art by, title screen by, players, genre, also released on, and the sales rating, so that was a good seller. The aim of the game, the lowdown, the controls. Action Biker. See the Zap score there. Agent X2, did enjoy that one, with Tim Foley music. Alcazar. It's actually a re-release from Activision. Back to Reality. Beat It, Jammin' 2 from Tony Gibson. Fun game that. Big Mac, the Mad Maintenance Man from Tony Kelly. The Notorious Bionic Granny. BMX Racers, enough from the darlings there. BMX Trials. Bomb Fusion. Bosconian 87. Camelot Warriors. Challenger, another darling one. Chiller, based on Michael Jackson's Thriller. There's two versions of that with different music. One the original Chiller, Thriller, and so on. We'll go for a bit quicker here. City Fighter, Dark Star, Duck Shoot from Sean Summon, Dynamics, Excalibur, Finders Keepers, Formula 1 Simulator, Phronesis, Gapless, Hacker 2, Hectic, Hollywood or Bust from John Ferrari, Hunter Patrol, Hyperbole from Binary Design, Hyperforce from Tony Takashi, Jungle's Story, Kane, and Kane 2 from John Darnell, Kentilla, Kickstart 2. I loved Kickstart 2. Brilliant with the screen design. Nighttime. Kobayashi Naru. Really enjoyed the Clive Wilson games there. Don't know why it says Chris Wilson in here. Legend of the Amazon Women. Magic Carpet. Magic. Make Music with Mastertronic. Master Chess. Milk Race, I had that one. Mind Control. Mind Trap. Interesting one featured recently on Witchfinder, Matt Corn's Commodore 64 Budget Publisher Showdown. It was one of the ones in the episode I took part in. Molecule Man. Motorbike Madness. Munch Mania. Night Racer. Monteracquis. One Man and His Droid. Funny story about that. I only worked out how to play it after watching the footage of it from accompanying Press Play on Tape in concert. Orbitron. Pod. Phantom the Asteroid. Or Asteroids. Pigs in Space. Pipeline 2, aka Super Pipeline 2. Prowler. Pulse Warrior. Pulsoids, interesting little game that. Rapid Fire. Raster Scan. Rogue. Recently Yokuto Force released a bug fixed version of that. Roll Around from Tony Kelly and Mr. Chip. Good fun. Sailing. Originally from Activision. Scout. Skyjet. SOS, the game with no name. Space Hunter. Space Walk. Spectipede. Speed King, another one I had on budget. Speed Zone. Spooks. Squirm. Star Race. Star Force Fighter. Star Force Nova. Starlifter. Storm. Street Beat. Re-release of Ghetto Blaster. Sub Hunt. Super Nudge 2000, also known as Fruit Bank, when it was released on the Zap cover tape. Super Trolley. Sweep. The Captive. The Curse of Sherwood. I remember playing the Spectrum version and got the C64 version years later. The Election Game. The Human Race. The Quest for the Golden Cup. The Quest for the Holy Grail. Those two both interesting adventure games. Treasure Island. Had an interesting graphic system. Vegas Jackpot. Venom, another of the Clive Wilson adventures. Video minis from Tony Kelly. Werewolves of London. Wing Commander. And Zzz from Clive Wilson as well. So Invader Load can be found on the following Mastertronic titles and quite a few of the Ricochet titles. So that was the 199 games. This is Aqua given away with Commodore Answers. And then M.A.D games, the 299 label. 180 Action Force by the Gang of Five. Amarote. There's recently been a new 3D version. Angle Ball. Didn't get great reviews, but interesting idea. Ball Crazy. Conquest. Countdown to Meltdown. Star Wars Droids. The Adventures of R2-D2 and C-3PO based on the comic. A cartoon. Energy Warrior. Five-a-Side Soccer by Ken Grant. Flash Gordon. Great rock up music there, known as Captain Zap in America. Grand Prix Tennis, aka Lawn Tennis from Binary Design. Here of the Golden Talisman from Sean Summon. Hole in One. Ice Palace. Chromosome, interesting little 3D shoot 'em up. Laser Wheel. Published by Mr. Chip. Manic Miner re-release. Master of Magic, one of my favourite M.A.D games. An amazing well-powered soundtrack. Motos, interesting one because it's a conversion of the Namco arcade game. Octoplex, on cue. Pathfinder, absolutely love this game. Superb work by David Lubar, converted by Tim Wilson. And unique sort of random landscape generation which would go on to inspire Andrew Braybrooke's Alley Cat. Raw Recruit. Revenge 2 from Jeff Minter, Revenge of the Mutant Camels 2. Rockford, the arcade game, so a conversion of the arcade game based on the original Boulder Dash on the Arcadia board. Spellbound. Sport of Kings with Curra speech support for race commentary. Stormbringer, third of the Magic Night games. Strike, 10-pin bowling simulation, got terrible reviews. Superstar Ping Pong re-release. Last V8, memorable from its speech, but it's not its gameplay. UCM, Ultimate Combat Mission. Vexable. Void Runner from Jeff Minter, also on the Commodore 16. Wizard's Pet. Zub, converted from the Pickler Brothers Spectrum game. And Action Biker. Dual format there. Spectrum on one side, C64 on the other. And there is compilations here, lesser known ones. So Fantastic Four, 180, Zub, Braster Scan and Colony. Famous 5, Knucklebusters, Amarok, Nighthawk's Milk Race Invasion. And Mega Play, Agent X2, Pipeline 2, Rapid Fire, Cage Match, Destructor, and Street Beat. So that one's a good one. A couple of task set games. So Mastertronic Plus, $2.99 label. 3D Pinball by the late Stephen Walters, good game. I enjoy it. Advanced Basketball Simulator. Barry McGuinn's Boxing re-release. Continental Circus re-release. Die Alien Slime. Unfortunately that was bugged originally, but been an improved version released. The Terrible Double Dragon from Melbourne House. Fighting Warrior, which wasn't as good. Fist 2. Gemini Wing. Not a bad conversion. Music by Barry Leach. Jonah Barrington's Squash re-released, originally by New Generation, and that had speech. Night Games. Leviathan, both of those from English Software. Micro Mouse. Protector. Psycho Hopper. Radramp Racer. Raster Runner. Rescue and Factors. I had that one. That re-release. Amazing fractal graphics from Lucasfilm Games. Rugby Manager. Shinobi. Brilliant conversion by Simon Pick and Ned Langham. Sidewinder 2. Shoot 'em up. Silkworm. Another great arcade conversion by the Sales Curve. Street Hassle. Very funny game from Melbourne House. Featuring gorgeous Greg the Wrestler. And each level you have different moves, including the nipple twister, the sidekick. Very funny. Super Stock Car, Overhead Racer, T-Bird, sort of Space Harrier style shoot 'em up. Didn't get a great review from Commodore format. Tetris, this is another one I had. Amazing value. And while the C64 version isn't the best conversion, it does have the amazing music by Wallen Beeben, Hager. Transformers, the re-release. The Activision game, Xenon re-release. Yes, Prime Minister, another budget re-release from Oxford Digital Enterprises, originally by Mosaic. Interesting idea based on the TV series. And Load and Play. While you wait, advert for programmers. The Magnum joystick. Mastertronic t-shirt offer. And Ricochet. The label set up to re-release games. So Fifth Quadrant from Bubble Bus. The Amazing Aliens from Electric Dreams. That's one I had. First person view there is amazing. Ball Blazer from Lucasfilm Games. Bazooka Bill, I had this one as well. Unfortunately it's a little bit bugged. You end up going in circles. Black Witch, not my favourite of those games. I had this on a compilation, Brian Jack's Superstar Challenge. Crazy Comets, amazing game. Dan Dare Pilot of the Future, brilliant conversion by the Gang of Five and Andy Wilson, based on the coin-up. And of course the Laser sub-game was the one everyone remembers. Dan Dare 2, interesting because you can play as Dan Dare or the Mekon, play on the same levels, but Dan is trying to destroy the Supertrines, the Mekon is trying to release them. Dragon Skull, another in the Sir Pendragon series. Eddie Kid Jump Challenge, very funny what it tells you. Hope you like hospital food when you crash. Erebus, originally by Virgin. FA Cup Football, another by Virgin. Had that on compilation, enjoyed that. Jeff Cape's Strongman, not Rob Hubbard's Famous Down. Ghostbusters, absolutely brilliant value on this amazing game. Hacker from Activision, good game. How to be a complete based on the Adrian Edmondson book, which was a follow-up to The Young One, game featuring farts and wee. Impossible Mission, absolute classic game by Dennis Wilson, released by Epix. Superb speech, incredible control. Jet Set Willy 2. Judge Dredd, not the best game. Nightmare, I did enjoy Nightmare. I had the Ricochet re-release. And once you know how to move around, it's good fun. Knucklebusters. Little Computer People, another one I had. Unfortunately, the tape version is cut down, so you don't have all the options. Outlaws, a disappointing game from Ultimate. Rebel by the Gang of Five, originally released by Virgin, which is inspired by the laser sub-game in Dan Dare. So you have to place the mirrors and break down the barrier to the next level. Rock and Bolt, interesting puzzle game. Skate Rock from Bubble Bus, chunky graphics and awful music, but it's quite playable. Starquake from Steve Crow and Bubble Bus, huge adventure game. Torset Eye, another one I had, superb value. I tried typing some swear words into the computer while you're docked with a building. There's some quite funny effects there. Superb 3D effect, the light changes. You've got the infrared mode there at night. The Adylon, another re-release from Lucasfilm and Activision. Superb 3D. Growing Pains of Adrian Mole, based on the books. Toy Bazaar, another Activision. Trailblazer from Sean Southern and Andrew Morris. Great fun that. Where of the Exploding Fist, classic game by Melbourne House. X15 Alpha Mission. Could you be the next in line for success? So showing some pictures of people who've earned money from Mastertronic, including Rob Hubbard himself. So Entertainment USA, designed for importing American games. So Bump Set Spike, the volleyball game. Cage Match, this is a terrible game. Terrible music. And almost completely unplayable. LA SWAT, some people rave about it. I think it's an awful game, not very good at all. Again, terrible music. Las Vegas Video Poker, which is okay. Ninja from Sculptured Software. I like the Rob Hubbard music. It's just a shame it's interrupted by the sound effects. And the game itself is bugged, and I don't find it that playable, but there we go. Panther by Peter Adams. Similar engine to Blue Max, isometric perspective. Amazing David Whittaker music. Street Surfer, did enjoy that. I like the way the music slows down and speeds up. Enhanced by binary design with a new loading screen and the music and tidied up some other things, new graphics. Good fun. And the environmental message, you pick up bottles either from the street or from a passing car. That gives you more health when you drink it, and then you throw the empties in the recycling. Master Adventurer Seikar Avasaya was the only game released on that label for the C64, and then Bulldog label for British software. So Colony didn't get a great review. The Island of Dr. Destructo, another poor review. Feud, unfortunately, is badly bugged in the C64 conversion and not as playable as the original versions. Invasion from Icon Design. Jacqueline Wide. Weigel's Revenge, very cool adventure game with some graphics, worth a play. Scumble, very much in the Starquake sort of mode. There's the Zap review revealed. Shard of Innivar, the third of the trilogy from Clive Wilson. Spore, credited to Jim Bagley, not Jim Bagley. And I love that, got a huge rating in Zap, still very playable. 3 Times the Fun, collections in John Menzies, the old and Tesco supermarkets. Then the other labels. So we had Racket, re-releasing Houston games and a couple of original games. So got 1 or 2 of those. You got Americana, re-releasing US Gold and American games. You got Tronix, re-releasing some of the later games from Virgin Mastertronic. And here's a pic of Colin's favourite 5. So we've got Kane, 3D Pinball, Hero of the Golden Talisman, Finders Keepers and Kickstart 2. 5 of the Worst, and Speed Zone, yes, terrible. Molecule Man is okay, not terrible. Election Game, very boring. Bionic Granny, very boring. Jungle Story, terrible. And yes, you could get those on the same cassette. Rare and hard to find. Yes, Prime Minister, 5-a-side Soccer on M.A.D. Pigs in Space. Yes, that one goes for very high numbers. Aqua is harder to find on that loose cassette. Octoplex, now to be a complete. I do have the Magnum Light Phaser, which has Operation Wolf, redesigned to use the light gun. And then 5 original games from Software Creations. So that's Cosmic Storm, Baby Blues, Gunslinger, Ghostbusters and Ghost Town. So I have disc and tape with that. User Club, like many software houses, there's the User Club. Ski Writer, the Mastertronic catalogue here. It used to be sold, games used to be sold on the blister packs like that. Top sellers here from the C64, so Ghostbuster, Kickstart, BMX Racers, Chiller, Double Dragon, Kickstart 2, Speaking, Formula 1 Simulator, Action Bike and Game. And then a checklist. So you want to become a collector. And the advert there. An index of the games, when they mention the book. So, growing up in the southwest of England, Colin Poole began gaming in the early 80s on the Commodore 16, Commodore 64 and eventually the Commodore Amiga. As gaming consoles took over from the early 8-bit computers, Colin continued to own and play most of the popular systems. Today, as well as enjoying retro gaming, especially on his Commodore 64, Colin also enjoys playing games on the latest generation of consoles. In recent years, Colin has been part of the retro gaming YouTube community, running his own channel, Let's Talk Retro, along with his friend James. Colin and James have also been regular contributors to Fusion magazine with their Games Chart Flashback section. So, there we go. Very impressive looking book there. We've got the Mastertronic CD as well. This was limited to 100 copies. So we've got Action Biker, Hunter Patrol, One Man in His Droid, Master of Magic, The Human Race, The Last V8, Phantoms of the Asteroid, Formula 1 Simulator, Spellbound, Kentilla, Flash Gordon, and then Kentilla and Flash Gordon rearranged for the 8-bit Symphony. As I say, produced in association with C64audio.com and 8-bit Symphony. And the dates here are when Rob created the music. And then just a quick look through Fusion Final Fantasy. I originally had an article planned for this, looking at Penultimate Fantasy, the C64 game. That was left out, so I'll just have a quick look through Final Fantasy Retrospective, going back through the early games, up to 6. Fusion Fail, Final Fantasy All the Bravest. Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, about the movie. The PlayStation years, so Final Fantasy 7 and 8. Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy Cosplay. It's an interesting article. Piece about the crash event in November 2022. The Final Fantasy retrospective continues with the PlayStation 2, so Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy XI, Final Fantasy XII. Fusion loves Chochobos appear in the Final Fantasy games. And then on to Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 14, and 15. And Fusion loves Final Fantasy 15. So that's Final Fantasy looked at thoroughly by Fusion Magazine as part of this Kickstarter. And I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Collector's Guide, Commodore 64 Collector's Guide to Mastertronic. So it's time to look at the other perk I got from the Kickstarter campaign for the Mastertronic Collector's Book, Commodore 64, which is Volume 1. And so in here we have a special edition of Commodore Zone, a reprint for the 25th anniversary. As you can see, completely remastered, digitally printed issue 1, cover in colour compared with the black and white cover of the original. And then inside we have a look. Issue 1. And obviously in memory of Jason Kelk, the editor. The index there. Various in full colour. Various letters page there. He was the mascot of Commodore Zone, and they did a little demo featuring various. The news. 10th Dan. Becomes Kung Fu Warrior. Ultimate Martingale Music Collection from John Wells. The supportware scheme that John started. Binary Zone going to a digital catalogue. The Ultimate Commodore Disc Zone. The charts. Apex computer production, so Mayhem in Monsterland, talking about that. And there's the 25th anniversary edition of Mayhem advertised. Blitz 2000 from John Wells again. The Games Archive, looking at Barbarian 1 and 2. Lions of the Universe, reviewed by Jason. Hunter's Moon Remastered. Advert, the Radio Napalm demo from Reflex. Geos feature by Tony Gibbs. An advert for Likia, The Lost Island, which I've been playing recently, Commodore 64 and Commodore Plus 4. A retrospective on issue 1. Shoot 'em up construction kit. Okay, Siokas. Alfongu giving some hints and tips on what you can do with the kit. Advert for Minor 2019, musical demo tape. Where Are They Now? A feature from Andy Roberts. Oh, hang on, I just missed a piece there. Escape from Poole Kavitsin. Originally made the Commodore 64 version and remade it in 2020 for Apple iPhone, iPad and Apple TV. I helped playtest that, so that was cool. The German scene, Jordan van der Elst. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? How to generate your own lottery numbers. And then Genetic Ninja. So this is what the cover was referring to. A comic strip from Alfongo. And this time it's in full colour, which looks amazing. Picture of Gillian Anderson, who Ken's had a major crush on. Next issue details, and then it originally came with a cover disc. That tells you the contents of that. But the main thing in here was a very special production in association with Fusion Retro Books. This is Hammer Down. So this is the last game from the late Jason Kelk, TMR Cosine. As you can see, aping the classic Mastertronic package, but this is Psytronik. Psytronik.net. Spine complete with catalogue number and a Commodore 64, and then we have a look inside. A glorious yellow tape with the character on both sides. The screen displays heaping how the Mastertronic inlay used to look. The aim of the game. Climb aboard the last V8 powered motorcycle and prepare yourself some action biking as you explore top-down town on a mission to collect flashing items that are scattered all around town. Watch out for the hazardous scenery and keep an eye out for your fuel gauge as crashing or running out of fuel cost life. Have you got what it takes to grab all the flashing objects? Gear up, gas up and put the hammer down. So program and graphics designed by Jason Kelk, music SFX and driver by Sean Connolly, bitmap loading pick by Steve Day, tape loader by Sean Connolly, artwork by Trevor Story, game title by Mark Poole. Special thanks to Sue Kelk. This release is dedicated to the memory of my good friend Jason Kelk. I've had the great pleasure of working with Jason since the 1990s on various C64 related productions. He was sadly taken from us by COVID-19 on June 18th, 2021. His devotion and contribution to the Commodore scene will never be forgotten. R.I.P. TMR. Jason Kelk, 2022. Made in Great Britain in association with Fusion Retro Books. So it's lovely to see that Jason Kelk's last game has been released, and also a nice tribute in the form of Commodore Zone Issue 1 Remastered. So I hope you enjoyed this video looking at the Mastertronic Collector's Guide for the Commodore 64 from Fusion Retro Books and these Kickstarter perks produced in association with the Kickstarter campaign. Keep watching my channel for more unboxing videos, gameplay, merch stand, retro shelf and more. Keep it retro.